What's up guys, and welcome to another YuGiOh Dueling video. So this is gonna be a very quick update, and man, you guys will be super surprised upon seeing this. So I just started playing the duelings again yesterday, right? Well, now allow me to show you that I have completed this entire Yuto event within 1 day. It took me about 6 or 7 hours to complete, so I was playing this non-stop, but I managed to obtain all the event exclusive cards like Phantom Knight's Wing and also Dark Gauntlets. So more than 3 copies are down and I'm pretty happy about it. Not to mention I obtained Yuto's exclusive skill as well. So that skill in particular is the one called the Phantom Knight's Order, and you can basically obtain it by using Yuto and dueling against other duelists, ranked duels, or even standard duelists by using a dark deck. Only dark monsters within your deck. So this basically allows all of your two Phantom Knight monsters on the field to become of any level of ranging level 2 to level 4. So that's basically easy for you to go into much more Phantom Knights plays, especially with the level 2 Phantom Knights monster which is already in the roster. But the trick is to actually complete this entire event is a pretty simple one. All you needed to do was to duel against Yuto at level 30 consistently, while also obtaining enough reward points or assessment that basically increases your chance at the cumulative reward as well. So for this entire event, I've been using a triple D deck, as you can see. It's basically a pendulum based deck, but it can go into fusion summoning, synchros, and also Xyz. So most of the time I would go into Oracle King Dark, then I would activate Night House effect to bring out a level 7 from the graveyard or even a DD bird format, change its level, turning it into a triple D Gus High King Alexander, then using Swirl Slime's effect, special summon a triple D monster from my hand, and of course it will be either Zero Max, King Zero Maxwell, or even Ragnarok, and also maybe even the other one. So once you get into this, Triple D Gus King High Alexander's first effect kicks in. If you have 3 Triple D monsters on the field, it gains a bonus of 3000 points of attack. But if you don't not use Oracle King Dark and you go into Beowulf, that is fine as well. Because by going to Beowulf, this monster allows all Triple D monsters on the field to inflict piercing damage, and henceforth with Triple D Gus High King Alexander's effect of it being 6000 on its own, with you control 3 Triple D monsters on the field, plus with Beowulf's effect you basically can defeat Yuto within 1 turn, aka an OTK. So once you actually do that, it's basically quite easy. And if you want to use the result boosters, EXP boosters, extra life, extra card if you want to, it is always at the standby, and I do recommend everyone try to use it. If not, it's just gonna rot in your inventory and you're barely gonna use it anyway. Next up is for Rio Kamashiro or Rio Castle's event. So far I managed to duel her quite a number of times. I managed to obtain Penguin Soldier only 1 copy, which you can see in the previous video as well on my first duel against her. And also I managed to obtain 3 copies of Blizzard Falcon, with 1 being a glossy copy and 2 regular copies as well. So this event is pretty much easy as well. So to defeat Rio Kamashiro, you can use any kind of deck that you want to, as long as you're using characters within the Zexal universe. So that's pretty much easy and pretty fine as well. But most of the time I would either use Kite's deck, where it's a Galaxy, Cypher, or a Photon deck. Aside from that, I even use Anna Kaboom, Shark, and also Yuma to actually try out the waters to see what kind of deck she'll have, or any like different dialogues between the characters thus far. And for those of you who are interested in the Yuto event, I only needed to duel against Yuto less than 40 times and I basically completed the entire event, as you can see. So as the trick is to actually duel against him at level 30, because by dueling him against level 30 and also by multiplying the rewards by 3, you get triple the amount of points as well. Not to mention it's pretty simple. As long as you use like a very fast paced kind of deck, you can defeat him and go for an OTK or even an FTK at that point. So you don't actually have much to worry about, since you basically know how Phantom Knights are normally played. especially if you're going up against a anime kind of legendary duelist on the spot, like Ryo Kamashiro as well. So most of their playstyles are pretty much fixed, and you can basically go around it and also defeat them within just a span of a few turns. And by defeating them real quick, you also earn the assessment points for quick victory. And also, if you didn't lose any life points, you'll have no damage as well. So that actually adds up to that point. Not to mention with currently Yuto's event gonna be ending by tomorrow, I do recommend everyone to finish this event real quick if you have yet to obtain Yuto or even any other Phantom Knights cards thus far. So right after the Yuto event ends, we're gonna get into a new event which is actually set for Zexal World. It's called the Duelist Road World Duel Carnival. So in this event, you get to obtain a new skill for Shark and also number 92 Heart Earth Dragon. So for this entire event, when the Duel Carnival Duelist Worldwide compete for the title will now begin. So this is basically a story-driven event and not a worldwide PvP event, so you don't have to worry about that thus far. Well, that's actually not. I'm not sure about that, but it will it is a story-based event, so you don't actually have to worry much about that. Another reminder is that your card tickets will expire soon, so I do recommend everyone to actually exchange for whatever cards you have. So, but for me thus far, I managed to use up all my UR and SR ticket that's expiring within the month, only leaving the ones for upcoming June, and also basically the others are not really there. For the R and normal cards, I basically have all the cards that are currently in that form of inventory. So basically I can just leave it out to expire on its own. So that's only one of the few things I do actually want to keep note about. And aside from that is basically Arch 5 using the type of decks you want. You can use Triple D, you could even use R dice if your deck is a full build one. And currently for Sora's deck, it's basically quite a simple deck I managed to build up on its own. So I managed to obtain one copy of Frightful Fusion and only use all 3 polymerizations, and I used 2 Fluffle Cranes, 2 Fusion Reserves, and 2 Wall Disruption because there are times that because of Fluffle monsters being of low attack points, you might want to set some form of backup so they won't actually be destroyed, but in the event they are destroyed, at least Fluffle Crane allows you to get that monster back and draw an extra card. So that's actually one of the few draw engines you can go forth if you feel that your deck you need some extra cards in your deck, especially if you're gonna use Fluffle Out to add polys from your deck into your hand. And aside from that, for the fusion materials, it's pretty much Fright for Tiger, Fright for Bear, 2 Fright for Daredevils, 1 Fright for Leo, and also 1 Fright for Wolf. So the reason I would recommend using Fright for Daredevil because its fusion materials are much more flexible, whereas along with Fright for Tiger. But on the other hand, for Fright for Bear, it specifically requires HM Sabers and also a Fluffle Bear. Whereas on the other hand, Fright for Daredevil only requires a Fright Fur monster and a Fluffle and an HM monster. And on the other hand, for Fright for Tiger, it requires HM Sabers. So you can only obtain HM Sabers by actually leveling up Sora Pierce. And for other cards like HM Tomahawk, you can obtain by purchasing the cards from the box itself. So I do recommend you going for HM Tomahawk because you can basically mill your HM Sabers to the graveyard, activate this effect of bring this monster out onto the field by placing a card on the top of your deck. Then you can go into a fusion summon during that turn. And do keep note, if you activate the effect for HM Tomahawk, this card also becomes an HM Sabers. So you technically will have 2 HM Sabers on the field, but with Tomahawk being at 1800 points of attack, it's a pretty safe bet that you're gonna use this for attacking along the way. And that's pretty much it for this upcoming video on quick updates and how the Yuto event progressed and how I completed this entire event as well. For the next upcoming video is gonna be tomorrow when the Yuto event finally ends and the Duel World Carnival Zexal finally begins. I'll upload the video on how the entire event is gonna run and let you know how it goes. So until then, do your best in the Yuto event since it's closing tomorrow and obtain all the Phantom Knights cards that you require. So until then, stay safe, but most important of all, keep dueling. Goodbye, good afternoon, good night, good morning, and see ya.